there seems to be so little attention and so a little emphasis placed on what we're doing to ourselves in this country, and the fact that insurance companies don't even bother to reward us for preventative care. And I just wondered if you could comment on that.
Well, I thank you for bringing it up because I left it out in my initial remarks. Part of our proposal is obviously to encourage insurance companies to reward wellness and fitness. Also, on the education side, that we need a lot more emphasis on healthy diets and, frankly, the use of tobacco. One of my great disappointments was the tobacco settlement that was made between the attorneys generals and tobacco companies years ago, mandated that those funds, those taxes, go to two things. One, treatment of tobacco-related illnesses, and education about the use of tobacco. Not one penny hardly now goes to those causes that come in from the tobacco companies. They all just go into the regular budgets. Meanwhile, we were reducing children's use of tobacco, and now it's turning back up. And by the way, how many of us are sick and tired of going to the movies and seeing Leonardo DiCaprio smoke throughout it? It's terrible. Young people go to the film to go to see a movie, and the stars are all smoking. I mean, I'm not for forcing the movie industry to do anything, but I think that's shameful. On the issue of particularly of tobacco, I think it's important to point out, since you brought up the S-chip, you know how they are going to fund this they say that they're going to fund this $35 billion increase in, quote, children's health insurance policy. You know how they say they're going to pay for it? By increasing the tax on a package of cigarettes by $1 each pack. So, let me get this straight. We are going to increase the tax on a package of cigarettes to take care of children's health, and we're going to encourage children to smoke? I don't get it. I don't get it. It's bogus. And what we are really doing is laying a $35 billion liability on these young people right here. I oppose the Medicare prescription drug bill. I'll tell you why. Because you put $800 billion to $1 trillion unfunded liability on next generation of Americans. We should pay for the expansion of government if we're going to expand government. And by the way, that program, now you're paying for my prescription drugs. You think you should have to pay for mine? I vote myself pay raises regularly. So the problem in Washington, my friends, is whenever we have an entitlement program, we let it grow and grow and grow and grow. And now we're in a situation where Social Security is going to go bankrupt in a few years and Medicare is going to go bankrupt in a few years. Is that the way we're supposed to treat the next generation of Americans? And I'll tell you what my plan is to make sure that Social Security is there for you and Medicare is there for you. And I'll do what's necessary to get it. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Back on your health care plan, your insurance tax credit that you're talking about, do you envision that as being refundable? And if, okay, so that takes care of the lower income. Okay, thanks.
Sure. It would be cash for the lower income people. Yes, sir.
Senator, there's an issue that you speak out about that impacts your state because it's on our nation's border. That also impacts us here. Would you comment about the matter of immigration, legal immigration, and so forth?
No. Thank you because it is, under the surface, it is one of the most emotional issues that I have ever dealt with as a member of Congress, as an American citizen. Where Americans have lost trust and confidence in their government. So therefore, and they've lost confidence because of Katrina, our failure in Katrina, our failure in the war in Iraq, the corruption in Washington. I don't use the word corruption lightly. We've got former members of Congress residing in federal prison. So they've lost trust. You saw the latest approval ratings of Congress, 11%. Now you get down to 11%, you're down to blood relatives and paid staffers. You can't get any lower. Somebody asked me the other day, he said, who are those 11% that still approve of Congress? I said, easy. They're people that live in caves. They don't watch television. They don't read newspapers. And I joke about it, but it's sad. So they lost confidence. So when we said we would secure the borders, they didn't believe it. They did not believe we would secure the borders. And they want the borders secured. That's the message. I got it. They want the borders secured, and then they will move on to temporary worker program addressing the other issues. But one of the things that I will do as president is have the border state governors certify that their borders are secure, because people would believe them. They wouldn't believe us in Washington. And we need a temporary worker program, my friends. We really do. And I'd be glad to talk to you about how you would do that with tamper-proof biometric documents. And people could come in agriculture and work for 10 months with that document and go back for 2 months. And come back for 10 months and go back for 2 months, so that temporary workers are not permanent workers. And we do need that in the agriculture sector. We're having problems all over the agriculture sector in America. But we've got to secure the borders first. Just last week, we added an additional $3 billion on the defense appropriations bill to accelerate what we need across the border. Now, just finally, one other point. What do we need across the border? In urban areas where you've got population on both sides, you need walls. And you need them manned, and you need them probably double walls. But when you get out in the trackless deserts of Arizona, where you can go 20 or 30 miles before you would hit any populated area or road, you need vehicle barriers, sensors, cameras, and UAVs. You need to use the technology that we have, because if people come across the border illegally, they're not getting anywhere. You just detect them and go and round them up. And my friends, we are increasing the Border Patrol. But it's a hard life for being a member of the Border Patrol on the Arizona-Mexico border in the summertime. 120, 125 degrees. It's tough. It's tough. So as much technology as we can use, we ought to go ahead and use it. But the wall and the fence in urban areas has to be part of it. Does that respond, or did you want to?
Most